Hi, Spirit Junkies! Welcome to my training. I'm so happy you're here. This is a training I do only once a year, and I'm so proud of you for showing up and so psyched that you joined me. This is such an important topic, and we're ready to go. If you're new to my work, I'm Gabby Bernstein. I am the #1 New York Times bestselling author of the book, The Universe Has Your Back. I am the founder of the world-renowned Spirit Junkie Masterclass training, which helps people step into their power, gain confidence to really rise up and show up in the world in a major way and earn for their great work. And I've been in the field of personal growth and spirituality for over a decade. And it is my mission and my intention to bring spiritual principles into your life so that you can activate a greater presence, a greater sense of happiness, joy, and really rise up to begin to do what you've been dreaming of. That's what this webinar is all about. This is a training on how to do what you've been dreaming of, rise up, step into your power, and own what it is that you've been meditating on and praying about and talking about to your friends, and start to turn that into a reality in your life. So my plan for this training is I'm going to teach you several different methods and tools to really step beyond your comfort zone and start to really own your power, own your voice, own your confidence, and own your message, because each and every one of you watching today has a message, has a story, has a principle within you that you are here to express into the world, and you're here to be of service in a really magnificent way. So my intention is to give you lessons and tools to give you the confidence to step out and start moving. I also am going to give you very practical tools to begin now, to get going, so that when you end this training, you will feel empowered to take an action. And to not take an action from a fearful, frantic, crazy place, but to take an action from a grounded, centered, inspired space. So this is going to blow your mind. This is my favorite training I do all year. I'm so psyched you're here. I'm going to answer some questions that have been submitted earlier in advance. There were some questions that we pulled. My team will be responding to you all throughout this training. They're in the chat. Team Gabby's there. If you need anything, just post a question, say hey. Start just saying hi to each other in the chat. Just send each other some love. Be proud of each other for showing up and being here. It's just a really big commitment that you've made to spend this next 90 minutes with me, really owning what it is to rise up and step into your power. So I also want to make sure that you stick around to the end, because at the end I have a very special announcement, and it's all about my forthcoming Spirit Junkie Masterclass training, which is only open live once a year, and it's June 2nd through 4th. So just stay tuned for the details on that at the end of this training. So I open all of my trainings, whether it's live or if it's online, wherever I am in the world, I always like to open with a meditation and a prayer and just set the intention for what it is that we came here for. So I ask you, just wherever you are, unless you're driving, which I can't imagine that you'd be driving and listening to this right now, but if you are, don't close your eyes. But if you're somewhere where you can just gently close your eyes, just center into your breath. Just take a moment to close your eyes and center into your breath and feel anything that's up for you right now, any excitement, any nervousness, any fear. There may be some discomfort that comes up for you around this topic of rising up and stepping in. There may be some sense of urgency or commitment that you're afraid of. So just feel those feelings. On the inhale, just feel those feelings, and on the exhale, just let them go. Take a deep breath in and feel everything that's up for you, all that is up, all that's coming up, and let it go. And take another deep breath in, feeling everything that's there, all that's up, and let it go. And take one last deep breath in and release. Setting the intention with your eyes closed, keeping your eyes closed, we set the intention today to just step into our power, to stop dancing around the perimeter of who we are here to be, but to dive in more fully and completely, to own the magnificence of the men and women that we are here to step into and rise up to. And feel what that means to you as you breathe even more deeply, breathing that in. What does that mean to you? And on the exhale, let it go. And take one last deep breath in and release. And when you're ready, open your eyes. All right. Okay, good. So we are in this container together. We are connected. We are feeling the energy of the group. We have thousands of people all throughout the world joining us for this training. So I want you to feel that connection, that quantum connection of people all throughout the world joining in this conversation and coming together at the same time for a feeling of greater confidence, for an opportunity to rise up and step in. So just feel that and just own that and take that in. There's many reasons why I want you to live your dreams. That's why I chose this topic, how to do what you've been dreaming of. And I want you to live your dreams. I want you to own your capacity to do what you love, to make money doing what you love, to make it your profession and your passion. And I believe that your passion work doesn't have to be separate from your profession. I also believe that you can have a profession and have passion work on the side, but I want, most importantly, no matter what, for you to feel as though you're actually doing what you've been dreaming of doing and really stepping into the presence of the man or woman that you are here to do and here to be in this lifetime. And for the past decade, I've been working as a spiritual teacher and author. I've written 6 books. Well, the 6th is on the way, just submitting it soon. And I've been speaking for over a decade on the international speaking platform and just giving people messages and lessons on how to step in more fully. And what I find is that as people start to bring these principles into their life, they begin to wake up. And in their own personal awakening, they start to feel a call. They feel a voice within them that says, you know, I'm not just here to enjoy this or live this in my own life. I'm here to give this and share this and be this in a major, major way. And I witnessed that desire and that commitment come forth in so many people. And I see their movement within them. And I see that awakening daily. I mean, whether it's through people on the internet telling me I read your books and now I'm awake and I'm doing all the things I wanted to do, or I see it in my masterclass training, or I see it with people in my live events or on a book tour. I just see the awakening happening all the time. And several years ago, in 2014, I started my first ever Spirit Junkie Masterclass training, which was for people who identified themselves as leaders and people who had a dream of stepping up into their greatest visions. And it was a confidence training, a training on how to really do what you've been dreaming of, step into your power. And I started to see thousands of people just waking up. They would take this training, they would walk away, they'd say, I did this, I had this desire, I was talking about it and meditating on it, and now I'm doing it, now I'm living it. And I started to see that there was such a call for more leadership and more inspired people and people that were living their fullest potential and purpose. I felt that this was a time that really required us to do that. Given the times that we're living in and the circumstances of these times, I believe that the way that we will balance the energy and the chaos is by stepping up and rising up in our own personal lives. That there's a desire, a call, a need for more inspired people doing inspired things. Because from a metaphysical perspective, when we're inspired, when we're lit up, we're living in joy. And that presence of joy has a ripple effect, and it creates more joy, and it gives us more energy, and it gives us more enthusiasm to be the men and women that we are here to be, and to do the great work that we're here to do, and to be a presence of light for the world. So I know that if you're watching, that you landed here, that there is a part of you that's like, yes, I want to be more inspired. I want to be more excited. I want to be a greater service through my intentions and my work and my actions. And I want to have an impact right now because I feel powerless maybe, or because I feel nervous about the future. I want to have an impact. So if that's you and you're saying yes, that's amazing. There may be many of you saying, well, I want that, but I'm afraid of it. That's why you're here. So I'm going to really bust the myths of fear and clear the block so that you can own that desire and really own the responsibility of the man or woman you are here to step into. And throughout the week leading up to this training, my assistant and I started reviewing some of the questions that came through, and we started to notice some common themes. And we started to see, they concerned me, these themes. There was a lot of doubt. There was a lot of uncertainty. There was this absence of self-love. There was a believing in our fear talk, like a lot of people saying that I'm not good enough, or how could I step out and do this thing I've been dreaming of, or who am I to lead in any way, or who am I to make money doing what I love. And there was so much fear and so much negativity holding people back from really rising up and stepping in. So I want to hit all those pain points on this training so that we can really own what needs to be healed and what needs to come through. And I understand that rising up to your highest potential can be very scary. I understand that there's a lot of resistance around the concept of stepping into your greatest power, into your light. And my great teacher, Marianne Williamson, has a beautiful quote, which is, our deepest fear is not that we're inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we're powerful beyond all measure. It's our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. And when I say that, it moves me to tears, because it's such a truth that I know each and every one of us are plagued with, even those of us who have been on a spiritual path for decades, that we're plagued with these stories of doubt and uncertainty and who am I to be great? Who am I to rise up? And it's our light, not our darkness, that frightens us most. And so on this webinar, I want to just bust that myth of your light being the reason to hide. Your light is what you're here to step into. So I understand that rising up can be scary. Stepping into what you've been dreaming about can be frightening and paralyzing. And we're going to clear that today. We're going to bust these myths. This training is going to heal you. So get ready. Hold on to your seatbelt. All right, so my intention for this training is to clear the blocks to the presence of the confidence and power within you. And I want to guide you to start doing what you've been dreaming of. I want you to start doing what you've been dreaming of so that you can really own that confidence and get started. I am an action taker, but I don't believe in taking action from a frantic place. I believe in taking action from a grounded, spiritually aligned place. And on this training, I'm going to give you the step-by-step actions on how to clean up your energy so that you can take an action, make a move from a place of alignment, not a place of fear. Are you ready? I know you are. Okay, so what holds us back from doing what we've been dreaming of? Let's just look at some of the common themes, the common blocks that come up that keep us from really stepping in. So the first one is we try to make something happen without inspired action. I've already addressed this, that there's this energy of pushing, controlling, manipulating, making something happen. Does that sound familiar to anyone out there? Do you feel yourself making and pushing and trying to get something happen? If you're in the chat, just say, I'm forcing, I'm pushing, I'm making things happen. Just let us know what is up. And if that's you, get honest about it, be real about it. And listen, for many, many years, I pushed and I made things happen. And there were some seemingly successful moments in that energy, but there was always a glass ceiling. There was always a glass ceiling whenever I was in that forceful place. I always felt like there was a boundary or a block or something in my way. And so my hope is that as we start to shift these intentions and shift your perception throughout the next hour and a half, that you will begin to really see your own energy and see how your energy is blocking you. When you're in a state of energetic resistance, you block yourself from your attracting power, you block people from wanting to support you, and you block your most inspired ideas from coming forward. So let's start to pay attention to how you are forcefully making things happen. Let's start to look at that. Another big block is that people have a fear of transition. So many of you may be a banker or a lawyer. Maybe you're in a job that is feeling like it's not using your greatest skills, and you want to do something different in your life, whether it's a career or whether it's something that is a side project, but the fear of transition is stopping you and paralyzing you from actually taking that action. So I want you to just get honest. Are you afraid of transition? Maybe you put that in the chat. I'm fearing my transition of whatever it is. And it's something that I see happen all the time. I see people get really, really stuck when it comes to that paralysis around making a career change or a personal change. And so I want to just address that now, that transition can be a really big one for people. A next one that's a big block is idea overload. And if you're an idea overload person, which I have definitely tended to be in my life, that has been a big issue for me in my life, is that I want to do so many things that I actually don't end up doing any one thing perfectly. Or sometimes if you have idea overload, you have so many goals and visions that you don't actually do anything at all because you're so overwhelmed by all the possibilities. So let's just look at that block, get honest about that block. This breakdown of the blocks is an opportunity for you to raise your hand in your own world and say, oh yeah, that's me, and look and get honest with yourself. Do you have idea overload? Is it blocking you from stepping into your dreams and living and fulfilling your greatest inspired purpose? Let's look at that. The next one is the who am I to be great? The who am I to be powerful? Who am I to be a voice of influence in the world? Who am I to have a message to spread? And that message, who am I to do this, is such a big, big issue that comes up for people all the time. I see it day in and day out, that people have big visions, big dreams, but big fears of stepping into their truth and stepping into their power. So if that's you, just let us know in the chat. I am afraid of being great. Throw that in there. Here's one that I would imagine that all of you are struggling with, not all, but many. I see this with the majority of people out there, that there's some kind of financial fearful story. And maybe it's a fear of not having enough. Maybe it's a financial fear of, or if I make that creative change in my life and start to do what's inspiring, there won't be any money. Maybe there's a fear of I can only make money one way. I hear that a lot. I only know how to make money this way. If I start to do something more exciting, I won't be able to do it. I'm afraid to step away from my financial security by doing the thing I'm dreaming of. So just let's look at that block head on, get real about it, get honest. Another block is, what is my purpose? I see that all the time. Today I'm going to bust the myth that you don't have a purpose, and I'm going to give you your purpose today. You're going to walk away with what your purpose is today. There's another one that people say all the time, too many other people are doing it. It's already happening. It's already being done. If that's something that you've had on repeat, let me know. Let's put that in the chat now. Just tell us that you've got that limiting belief in that story that everybody else is doing it. Had I had that belief system, I never would have begun to do what I'm doing today. And the other thing that I want to point out with that one that's a really important message, and this is a part of the training that I'm going to throw in right away, which is that if you're in that story of everyone's doing it, you have to realize there are far more people in need of your great work than there are people actually doing the great work. So let's start to throw that one upside down just by looking at it from that perspective. There are far more people in need of your magnificence than there are people actually doing great work in the world. So we need to fulfill the need, regardless if other people are doing it too. We need more people doing it. So we need more people living from an inspired, service-oriented, spiritually aligned place, doing the things that they've been dreaming of. Here's another one. I think I need to do it all myself. Now, I had this mantra for 15 years. It sucked. It made me sick. It blocked my capacity to go even bigger than I could potentially even see now. And it was a really ugly belief system because it didn't let other people support me or help me, and it didn't create space for growth. So I need to do it all myself. If that's you, let's get real about that now, because that also is the pathway to work addiction often, which is I got to handle everything and I can't let anybody help me, is not a good direction we want to go in. So let's look very closely at that. The next one is, who will listen? Who wants what I've got? And I hear this all the time. Who wants what I've got? We're going to bust that myth today. Get ready. I'm going to clear that one for you. And then there's this other myth. Where do I start? How do I begin? Well, I want to just acknowledge that by being on this training right now, you've already started. You said, I want to do what I've been dreaming of. I haven't been doing it. I feel like I'm being called for something. How do I create that next step in my life? And you said yes, you showed up, you're on the training now. That is the beginning. You made that decision, start. Yogi Bhajan said, when the time is on, you start and the pressure will be off. So there may be actually a part of you that's feeling like you've already had this sense of relief and pressure that has come off of you as a result of being here right now and just listening to this training. This is a step in the direction of your dreams, just being here today. So let's own that and let's feel that, and let's just get pumped about the fact that you're here. You've started. You've begun. So let's all give each other like a little virtual high five in the chat. You have started. Congratulations. We've begun. Wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Okay, so let's take it myth by myth, and I'm going to give you some lessons to combat these myths and these blocks. So the first one is that you have to make it happen, the idea that I have to force or make something happen. Well, the thing I want to point out is that whenever you're in that place of making something happen, maybe you'll get the job done, or maybe you'll have, fulfilled some goal, but it will never be backed with the magnitude of what it could be if you had done it from a aligned place, if you had done it from a place of inspiration rather than pushing and forcefulness. So I want to show you the difference. And I shared this story in a recent talk that I gave, and it was a great email that I received from a young woman. And she was a reader of my book, The Universe Has Your Back. And in the book, I talk about asking for signs and trusting in the universe. And she says, I asked for a sign, which was an owl, which is my sign too, and she's so cute. And the sign she asked for was going to show her that she would make her year-end sales goals. And then owls were showing up everywhere. And I'm a hard worker in my job, and I've got grit, and I've got my Kundalini manifesting meditations going on daily. And I'm shocked, Gabby, because what happened was I did not make my goals. So what should I make of this? I'm struggling with this, and I'm always choosing love. But did I block my chance? So I wrote back to her. I said, sounds like you're trying a little too hard to make your goal happen. The key to the law of attraction is the art of allowing. And this is what I wrote to her. Much of this work is about truly allowing. Manifesting is far more about your energy than it is about your actions. So I suggest that you redirect your focus off of what you think you're doing and onto how you're being. So practicing spiritually aligned action will help you create rather than force. So I wanted to point out her message. She was like, I'm a very hard worker. I've got my job. I've got grit, and I'm doing my meditations. Like, even our spiritual practice can feel like we're forcing it sometimes. Like, I'm doing my manifesting meditations. I'm making my vision board. If we're in that space, the universe does not respond to that energy. People don't respond to that energy. When we're in an energy of forcefulness, pushing, controlling, making something happen, we're blocking our capacity to just allow. We're blocking the energy, the flow, the presence of source and inspiration within us. And we create this block when we're in that state. So the first thing I want to point out is that when we're in that place, we need to change our thoughts, change our beliefs, and change our emotions. Because when we're in the place of forcing and pushing, there's a thought form and a belief system and an energetic emotion that is saying that if I don't force and push and make something happen, then I will not get it. I will not create it. It will not come to be. And so we can't just all of a sudden change our energy. We have to change the thoughts and the beliefs behind the energy. So right now there's this energy of, making something happen. And in that space of making something happen, there's likely a story that you're telling yourself. Like if I push and I and I scream, then it will come to be. So I want you to start to think about a softer, more gentler way of perceiving this through your thoughts and your alignment. And that thought form can shift to something along the lines of, I'm here to do great work in the world, and when I do that great work from a place of inspiration, my work will flow. Or maybe even a new thought could be simply, I'm watching this webinar with Gabby Bernstein, and she's reminding me that the art of allowing is available to me. So start to just give yourself some thought forms that are giving you permission to just be in alignment rather than be in a forceful energy. And a belief really is just a thought that you keep thinking. So if you keep thinking, I have to force something to happen, then that's going to become your belief system. If you start to think to yourself daily, the more I am relaxed, the more I am focused, and the more I am spiritually connected, the more I will create, you'll begin to shift your belief systems. The belief systems then start to influence your emotions. And I took some notes here. And I want to just be clear that when I was creating and building, and throughout my entire career, throughout the last 15 years of being in business for myself and doing work that is inspiring for me, I had to start to pay attention to my emotions and let my emotions be the driving force behind the work that I was doing. So I allowed my thoughts to inform my belief system, and those belief systems I bring to my emotional state. I would stay up late just sort of dreaming and writing and journaling about all the things that I wanted to create in the world. I saw myself in my mind's eye through my meditation. I saw myself on the stage. I'd visualize myself being interviewed by Oprah, which several years later became my reality. I held these visions, and I continue to every single year. My last book, The Universe Has Your Back, I created an image of my book cover with the #1 New York Times bestseller stamp on it. I put it on my vision board, I put it on my computer, I put it on my phone screen, and I just held that vision in my heart, and it wasn't just an image to me anymore, it was a feeling. I felt the feeling of what it felt like to know that that book was serving the masses. And I knew that that image, that symbol of the #1 New York Times bestseller, that symbol implied service, that symbol implied healing, that symbol implied success, that symbol implied that there was a ripple effect and that people were going to spread the message far and wide. And I allowed that symbol, that image, to create a movement within me, an energy within me. And so the first step to creating a new belief system and a new emotional state around what it is that you want to create is to make a list of how you want to feel and what it looks like. And so you could start with the images, and then you could see those and allow those images to create a feeling, or you could start with how you want to feel. But to start a list, so for me with the New York Times bestseller, I wanted to see the image of the #1 New York Times bestseller on the cover of the book. And that image was going to make me feel as though I was being of high service to the world. It was going to make me feel supported by the universe. It was going to make me feel successful and excited and enthusiastic about creating more books in my life. It was going to make me feel fulfilled. And so I made the list of the images and the feelings. And so I want you to start to make that list. And maybe you make a list, one column of all the images that you want to see. And then next to it, how does that image make you feel? So when I was seeing myself on the stage, the feeling was, I feel so alive. I feel so connected to spirit. I feel so inspired. So having those two lists of what do I want to see and how do I want to feel? And then once you have those images and those feelings and some sort of emotional connection, you can sit in a meditation, maybe it's 5 minutes, maybe it's 10 minutes, and just conjure up the feelings and the energy behind the visions that you're creating. Start to allow yourself to be more connected and closely aligned with the feelings that come through when you're in that space. What does it feel like to be on that stage? What does it feel like to walk into that office of your dreams? What does it feel like to be at the computer writing that book that you've been longing to get out? What does it feel like to birth that baby that you've wanted to get into the world? What does it feel like? You might not want to think about the feeling of actually birthing, but what does it feel like to hold that baby in your arms? So sit in that meditation and allow yourself to conjure up the energy, the visions, and the emotions that back these feelings. And that energy is the place that we want to take action from. And this is what I call spiritually aligned action. And it's emotion plus vision plus action equals creation. When we're in an emotional state that we're aligned with visions that are beyond our physical sight, visions that we are unapologetically holding, and actions that we're taking in the world is how we create. But we can't create just from a place of action, 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 action. We need the emotions and the visions to back up the action to create. So for true co-creation, for a creation that's backed with source and love and inspiration that's going to have a lifelong change, you got to back it up with emotions. You got to back it up with visions. And that's when you take the action. And this is what I call spiritually aligned action. So let's just recap this step. I want you to really begin to change your thoughts about what it is and the ways that you create, which will help you change your belief systems. I want you to make that list of all the visions that you want to see your life to be, and then the emotions that align with those visions. And then I want you to sit in your meditation and bring those visions and those emotions to that process of just tuning in and allowing that meditation to take over. And then I want you to look at this process of spiritually aligned action, which is emotion plus vision plus action is creation. Emotion plus vision plus action is creation. So creating from a place that is backed with emotional stance, emotional commitment, emotional inspiration, and visions that are beyond your wildest dreams. So let's take that as the first step. Let's start to look more closely at the energy that we bring to things and how we push and how we control and the ways that we can shift that with our energy and our visions and our meditation practice and start to shift and change the ways that we put our vibes out to the world. In my book, The Universe Has Your Back, I say that your vibes speak louder than your words. So if you've got vibes that are pushy and controlling, no one's listening. No one wants it. You know, there was a friend of mine that was just launching something recently, and she was so freaking pushy about it. She was like coming up to me at events and forcing me and saying, when are you going to promote this? When are you going to put this out there? And I literally just started deleting her emails because I could not support that energy. And it's such a shame because the product that she created is really quite awesome, but I don't want to get behind it because the energy that she's putting at me is so controlling. And it feels almost energetically abusive and energetically strangling that I'm literally like, nope, good work. I'll pray for you to have success, but I can't get behind it because I feel that you're forcing me to do it. So the world, your vibes speak louder than your words. People can feel the vibration that you put out and they're going to respond to it no matter what it is that you do. So I want you to be really clear about that. Okay? I don't want to create pushers. I want to create creators. I want to work with you as becoming a co-creator, not a pusher. All right? So all y'all out there, let's make a commitment in the chat that I am not a pusher. I am a co-creator. Let's tell the world that now in our chat. Okay, let me take a sip of water. We are going strong here, my friends. We are going strong. Okay, so here's the next one. Transition is a big block and we got to bust the myth. So I got a lot of questions about transition when they came in from the emails. So a big one is playing small. Fear of transition is holding you back. So I wrote down here, maybe you're leaving corporate America to be your own boss. Big fear of transition. Maybe you want to find a more soulful position in your existing career. That might feel like it's impossible. Maybe you want to bring more passion into your side projects. And so there's a fear around this transition, and transition is an art, and I want to give you the pathway to doing it and creating it. So here's the transition plan. I always give the advice to work for free for a period of time. There was a year in the beginning of my career when I was out there speaking wherever I was asked and wherever I could get a microphone. I was speaking at women's conferences. I was speaking at the Gay, Lesbian, Transgender Center. I was speaking at community meetings. I was speaking at fancy hotels. Wherever I could get a microphone, I was speaking. But I was speaking for free. I was speaking for free for a period of time. And I committed for a full year to speak for free so that I could gain my confidence, gain my chops. This was a time when I was formerly running a PR business for the first 5 years of my entrepreneurial career. And I was transitioning from being a publicist to becoming a motivational speaker, self-help book author. And so that transition couldn't happen overnight because, first of all, I perceived myself as only being able to make money this way. I was afraid of the transition. So I needed to ease in. But I also needed to really own my chops and own the message behind the work I was doing and own my confidence behind the work. So I did it for free for a period of time. So I want to make sure that that's the operative sentence, for a period of time. So I was speaking everywhere. And then by the time that year was up, I started getting asked organically to speak. And people would say, well, what's your fee? And that happened because I put my time in. And there had been such a greater level of confidence because I had done so much work and so much love and energy and commitment was put into this work that by the time that I was done, people were just, asking me, how much can we pay you? Because that was the vibe I was putting out. There was a level of confidence because I had done the work and I had put my time in. So I want you to be really, really recognizing that it's okay to do that transitional work for a period of time for free. And I'm not talking about a decade, but maybe for a year, maybe 6 months, maybe you do it on the side for a period of time, and that will create a shift for you. There were beautiful people in my life that worked for me for free. Allison, my assistant, who's on the other end here, and she's in the chat, she worked for me for free for many years volunteering, and then now works with me and is like my right hand, and she is a huge part of our business. So that happened as a result of her doing that side work, that passion work for free for a period of time, and then becoming this position that is invaluable to our business. So that happens when you put your time in and when you start to get the confidence that, yes, I can do this. And you also energetically start to put it out to the world. And then the world begins to reflect back to you that internal condition of confidence. And then they say, well, how much to charge? Okay? Be patient and be grateful for the paid job that you have. So some of you may have a paying job and want to be doing something else. And I think there's a different way of looking at this paid job. Many of you may be looking at this paid job as like, oh, it's like the worst thing ever, and I can't get out of it, and I hate it, and I hate the people I work for. And I had a great experience early in my career when I was still doing PR, wanting to, and like moonlighting as a speaker at night, writing books on the side, and wanting to only be a speaker and wanting to only be a writer. And I remember saying to my mentor, Joe, I said, Joe, I'm so pissed that I can't just be a speaker and an author all the time, and I'm so annoyed that I have these other clients and these PR business, and I'm just so annoyed that I have to do this, and all I want to be doing is just speaking and writing, and I want to be inspired all the time. And Joe was like, honey, this is Joe's voice, honey, you're making money, aren't you? And I said, yes. And he said, and you're making money and you're able to do this work on the side? And I said, yes. He said, well, let me tell you, you have a venture capitalist for your future business. And in that moment, I completely transformed. I totally saw it differently. He helped me see that the work that I was doing, the PR work, the work that was making me the money at the time, was the investment in the future of my business. It was the VC for the future. And to this day, some of that money that I earned at that time is in my bank account. It's in my Roth IRAs from 12 years ago, at a time when I was in that transition, saving money, putting money away so that I could take that leap. Some of that money is still in my savings account that I'll see in the future as a result of seeing those paying clients as my venture capitalists, as the investment in my future as I was in that transitional period. So I want you to be grateful for the money jobs that you have in this moment. And ironically, the more gratitude and grace that you bring to those jobs, the quicker you'll be out of there. Because the more resistance you bring to them, resistance creates more. So what we resist will persist. So if you just bring more negativity to those stories, you're going to become those stories. You're going to get stuck in those jobs. But if you can be grateful for them and see them as an opportunity to earn for your work while you're still growing this transitional process, you can feel gratitude and joy. And that helps you go with the stream. You're not resisting the flow of how things are unfolding for you. Instead, you're moving with the stream, seeing yourself sailing downstream rather than trying to swim upstream. And I want you to have that vision in your mind as you start to create that transition. Am I trying to force something, or am I just flowing with the stream? And I want to give you some examples of how this absolutely can happen. I've got the most magnificent examples of my Spirit Junkie Masterclass alumni who just showed up and created radical transitions in a very short period of time. So the first one is, I call it From Corporate to Coach in 9 months. And this is Danielle. She started the Spirit Junkie Masterclass in 2014. She wrote me this. She said, this is Danielle Mercurio. She says, I started the Spirit Junkie Masterclass in 2014 and left my job May 2015. So roughly 9 months. It's been almost a year now. Well, now it's been almost, it's almost 3 years now. And she's doing better than ever, grossing more money than ever, exceeding beyond her corporate salary and able to travel while doing the work that she loves. 3 years later, she's now actually not only having all these great successes, but she went through my masterclass level 1 and level 2 training. She applied to be one of my referred coaches, and she's on my team as a Gabby Bernstein referred coach. She has her own private business as well, and she gets referrals from me because she's shown up in such a massive way. So, and she applied and she got accepted. So that happened all in a 3-year period, but in the 9 months, she went from corporate to coach. So I want to point that out, that she did this training. She went from 9 months later, stepping into that job and making more money than she'd ever made in the existing job. So let's just give a little shout out for Danielle. All right, then there's another one. I wrote, sometimes transition isn't a change in location, but a change in attitude. This is a great one. This is my favorite. Okay, so this is my story about Susie Draper. She is a masterclass alumni. She's been to level 1, level 2, back to level 1, back to level 2. She's done the digital training. I mean, she is a masterclass junkie, and she is the best. She was working at a high-powered fashion magazine, and she came to the masterclass. She had no idea why she came to the training, and that happens to a lot of people. They come and they're like, why did I come here? But they knew that they needed to do something bigger, and they didn't know what it was. And so Susie started to notice that she wanted to bring more spiritual principles into her life and into her career. So rather than just jumping ship and leaving her job, which she loved, she started to bring these spiritual tools into her existing job. She began coaching people on the job. She was like talking to her students. They became her students, but her coworkers were in the boardroom with her, and she was doing their Miracles Now deck readings, and she was teaching them my books, and she was giving them the principles that she learned in the masterclass. And she almost started coaching people in her existing job. And what was so exciting about this is that she started to feel better, more excited, and she started to feel like she was in the practice of becoming a coach. 3 years later, Susie now has left that job in her high-powered fashion magazine, has a full-time coaching practice, and is actually, some of the people at that existing job are her clients. So it all comes full circle when you follow your passion and you do this work. And she uses the principles that she brought from the masterclass in her life, and now is fully living her dreams, but spent two and a half years in that job bringing these spiritual principles to the job. And so that's a whole other lesson, which is that the current jobs that you're in are actually a fantastic place to practice being the person that you want to be and owning the inspired work that you want to do and doing it in a creative way on the job. Think about that. Transition is an art. As I've said, transition is an art. So here's another one, another big block, idea overload. This is a huge one. So I'll take a sip before we begin. And this is a question that came in on Facebook. This young woman said, I signed up for this training because I'm experiencing paralysis due to idea overload. I have several different things I want to try, all fairly different. I'm probably equally motivated by creativity and a desire for measurable success, but focus is required. Help, she says, exclamation point, help. Okay, first of all, I get it. I'm with you. I have had idea overload. My team has to reel me in and just say, girl, slow your roll, bring it back. So I get it. Now, I have a masterclass alumni called Ariel. She's actually one of my first ever coaching clients. She was the original spirit junkie. And Ariel used to call a jack of all trades, master of none. And she was like studying to be a nutrition coach, and she had a jewelry business, and she wanted to do design for parties, and she had all these different ideas. And I said, listen, honey, you can do all these things, but you have to focus and you have to choose one and commit to it. So I put her on this path of 90 days of just focusing on her ring and this jewelry that she had created. And in that 90-day period, she got a website up, she got a PayPal link, she started taking pictures of these rings, and she started talking about the rings. And within that 90-day period, she created a business around what is now a very popular ring amongst the spirit junkie community, the I Love Me ring. It's a beautiful heart ring that normally I'm wearing. And it's the I Love Me ring, which is there to show you how to love yourself and spread love to others. And through that 90-day process, she created the focused container to put that work out into the world. And to this day, it still has massive success. She has gone on to become a health coach and a big voice for the health and wellness movement. And she's like one of my health gurus now. And she's made this massive career as a result of staying focused and not having all of her ideas take over, but choosing one, doing 90 days on that specific desire and committing to it. And then when she was done with that, moving on to the next. So I believe that we need to take daily right actions towards one goal. And so in my career, I've always had many things going on at once. But the greatest successes that I've had in my career are when I've mainly focused on one thing at a time. So for instance, my last book, The Universe Has Your Back, there was a 5-month period where that was all I focused on. I took everything else off the table, and it was all universe, all day, all universe, all day. And it worked. I mean, the book was #1 New York Times bestseller. We'll have sold almost hundreds of thousands of books. It's being bought in multiple countries, and people all over the world are reading the book. And this is, only in the last 6 months of the book being in form. I mean, since the fall. So maybe less than 6 months. Oh my God. So that is a result of the focus and direction that I had. So the goal for you is to start to take spiritually aligned action towards that one goal. Daily action. Another thing that you can do when you have idea overload is have a spiritual running buddy that will hold you accountable. And spiritual running buddies are the best. I have many of them. and having them hold you accountable to sticking to the plan and not being all over the place. My best spiritual running buddy for this is my husband. He's the first to say, no, don't record 10 things in one day, do one. No, let's focus on the book right now. No, let's, so keeping me connected to that desire and that goal, having that spiritual running buddy supporting you. All right, so that's how we deal with idea overload. And for those of you who are joining now, I want you to just stick around till the end, because I'm going to be launching a major exciting announcement at the end about my masterclass and a big bonus that's going to happen here, a discount, everything that's coming towards the end. So stick around all the way to at the end to hear what's coming. I'm going to be sharing an awesome offer, taking questions, and I want you to stick around all the way through. Okay, so let's talk about another block. Who am I to do this? If you've got that one, let's throw that up in our hands up in the air in that little chat there. And I have Anne here from Facebook, and she says, hi, Gabby. I really need to overcome my fear of stepping out of my comfort zone when it comes to sharing my passion with others. I'm a yoga teacher and a soon-to-be fully qualified yoga therapist, and I have so much training, but my self-confidence goes to pot. My nagging little voice says, what makes you think you can achieve any of this? You're hopeless at following through. How do I overcome this? And how do I step out of my comfort zone? I believe in miracles and I need help. Okay. So for Anne, she's got this fear of who am I to do this? And really what helped me most with combating that fear was being in this place of accepting that my life credibility was enough. That the experiences that I had had to date were enough to just start. And as I said earlier, when Yogi Bhajan says, when the time is on you, start and the pressure will be off. So the message of just do it, get it out there, create some life cred. And start sharing your work right away with people you trust. So one example is I used to sit up late at night a decade ago with my best friend Michaela, and I would be writing. At the time, I couldn't put 3 sentences together. I had the worst vocabulary. I couldn't spell. I was a mess because I literally had 8th grade English, but I knew that I needed to write books. And I just started writing. I started putting sentences together fearlessly, putting ideas onto the page. And my best friend was a very good writer, and she had a great capacity to just take a sentence and make it sound beautiful. And so I would sit up late at night and I would read Michaela these terrible sentences and these crazy ideas. And she would sit there with me night after night, editing the words, making them sound more beautiful, helping me reorganize so that they could become the sentences that began to be the pages of my books. And so the message here is to let others midwife your dreams. Let people be your guinea pigs. Let your friends be the people that you practice on. So if you're this yoga teacher and you want to step out and start doing your yoga therapy, maybe you offer it to a friend for a while so you can start to gain the confidence in the work that you're doing and get feedback from those friends. I often tell people, if you want to put out a digital course or do a training, to do it for free for a group of people that you trust, so that one, you can get feedback and you can send out a survey at the end and get some feedback from these people that are saying, this is how I think you could have done it differently. I would have loved to have seen this. But you can also get testimonials. You can get people saying, oh my God, that yoga therapy was the best thing ever. And you can put those testimonials up on your website or your blog once you have them. So the answer here is to get some life credibility to start to combat that story of who am I to do this? Because the reality is that once you start doing it, you become it. You accept that that's who you are. So as I started speaking for free for a year, I started just saying to people, I'm a motivational speaker. This is what I do. This is who I am, because I was actually doing it. It wasn't something I was talking about doing or meditating on doing. I was actually doing it. So your power is your transformational story. This is probably the biggest aha moment of the entire training, which is that your power is your story. Your story is your life cred. It's your message. So many of my masterclass alumni have gone on to turn their stories into their books, into their podcasts, into their workshops, into their training, into their 6-7 figure businesses. And the confidence comes when you accept that your wounds are your wisdom. Your experience is your message. So what you've personally been through, whether it's overcoming addiction or traumatic events in your life, and you've gotten here, you're with me today, you're reading spiritual books, you're on a training like this, you are on a path of recovery, my friends. And so that magnetic force that is your shift and your recovery is your story. So when I first began teaching, my story was how I overcame addiction to drugs and alcohol. As I continued teaching, my story began to expand. How did I become to, step into this person I am today? How did I overcome trauma and memories of trauma? How did I overcome these stories that have held me back? And in the experience of sharing my stories, that is the credibility I have. As you can see throughout this entire training, every single lesson, I share a personal story. And that's how I have the confidence to stand here just being with you right now, saying, I can own that I am your teacher and I have a message to share with you because I've been through X, Y, and Z. So you all have a story. You all have a transformational story. You all have a wound that is your wisdom because you've learned from it and you've grown from it. So start owning that your story is what heals. And your story, when you own that you have a story, you can have the confidence to start to share it. My EFT tapping coach has said to me many times that there's a call for vulnerability right now. There's a call for leadership and there's a call for vulnerability in the times that we're living in. So we really need to own the messages that we have and begin to put them out in a really important, valuable way. So let's get real about that. What is it that you need to vulnerably share with the world? What is the message that you have to put out? And after this training, I actually want you to do an assignment. I want you to go to your journal and I want you to write out your story. And start to notice, like, who does my story serve? How could my story help people? What are the ways that I can bring my story to life? Maybe it's through a blog, maybe through a talk, maybe through working privately with others. So I want you to write your entire story, then make a list of who that story serves, and then make a list of the ways that you can bring this story out into the world. And that's how you can do that in an authentic way. Great. All right, so now we've got the next myth. We're moving right along, busting our myths. And this one is financial fear. How do I turn my passion into my paycheck? Okay, this is a great message I have. I've always been teaching about this for many, many years, and it's called effortless actions. Doing what you love and doing the things that come to you by choice. So what are the things, if you've got a story of I can't make money or I can't find the work that will make me money, or my inspired work won't make me money, I want you to actually start paying attention to your effortless actions. I want you to look at the things that you've always done by choice. And for me, one of the things I did by choice was I was always a speaker. Even when I was 13 years old, I was leading the youth groups, the Jewish youth groups in my community, and I was sharing an inspirational message with the masses when I was 14 years old. So I saw that and I parlayed that desire of the work I did effortlessly into a career decades later. And so knowing that we have these things that we do by choice, and if we don't know how we're going to make money doing them, let's go back to one of the earlier steps, which is to do them for free for a period of time. And when we do that, what ends up happening is that we start to create an energy around this currency that we have. We start to feel like the energy of what we're doing is the currency. And we feel the power and the confidence behind it. And that confidence begins to attract financial abundance towards it. So that's a very, very big step when we start to want to clear our financial story around our passion work, is that the more we do it and the more confident we become in it, the more we feel the value of how we can earn for it. And we start to value our energy as our currency, and our energy and our time as our currency. In my Spirit Junkie Masterclass, I give so many practical tools for busting the fear-based myths around your financial insecurity, and tools for earning for your great work, and how to clear your financial energetic blocks. I spend an entire morning teaching that, and it's such an important message that comes through. And then the next message here about earning for your great work is that the way that we can earn for our great work is to lean towards joy, and we will be led. So when we're doing things that bring us joy, we can trust that we are creating an energy that is very attractive, and that attractive energy is a match for abundance. So we are having fun, creating joy, and in a place of excited energy, inspired energy around what we're creating, we can trust that that creative energy has a force field, a magnetic force field around it that will begin to attract abundance towards it. That is the law. That is why I stand behind this beyond all measure. And so let's go back and look again at the things that you have been your effortless actions. What have you done by choice? How can you start to do them for free for a period of time? And how can you bring more joy and enthusiasm to those things so that they become more of a match for what you desire, more of a match for the energy that you're putting out into your world? Okay, so now let's go to the last myth that we're going to bust before we go into the questions that come up and before I do my big reveal. So the first one is the final myth is, who will listen? Who's going to listen to my message? And I love this one because it's so simple. When you're moved by your message will move the masses. When you feel so lit up and so inspired by the work that you're doing, people find you. They feel your vibration. This is quantum physics. You're vibrating at an inspired, excited, magnetic, joyful frequency, and you just become a match for people that want that joy. And you become a match for people that need that message. And there are so many people out there in need of your light. And when you stand in your light and you are moved by your message, you become a magnet for the masses. And I say this with conviction. The ways that I've been able to create a movement around the work that I do is not because I'm just good at marketing or just because I have good copy or really good images. It's because I am so deeply moved by the work that I do, and you feel that. And I know that all of you listening right now have felt that on some level. You feel, I want to show up for this training because I know that girl Gabby believes and loves what she is teaching, and I'm showing up. And I know that is why you're here. So you may not have said that in words, but you felt that at your core, and that's why you signed up. So when you feel so moved by your message will move the masses. And when I started my first Spirit Junkie Masterclass, I had that fear in 2014 of who's going to show up? Like, who wants to hear this? But I sat in my meditation and I was allowing myself to be brought to tears by the knowledge that I needed to share my experience as a spiritual leader. I needed to share the lessons that I used to bust my fear of financial insecurity. And I needed to help people step into their power and own their purpose and step up as leaders and bring their spiritual principles into their life. And I knew that I wanted to do this live, as a training live, because I knew that I wanted to be lit up, because when I'm live, I'm most excited and most vibrant. And I knew that was going to be the greatest way to share these messages. I could see the group in the room. I knew that it was coaches and yogis and bankers and people that were just on a path of spiritual growth, that were either wanting to bring it to their career or wanting to bring their spiritual careers to the next level, or people that were transitioning from one career to the next and felt like they needed to bring more soul and inspiration to that career. And I knew who they were, and I felt the call, and I felt moved by the message, and that message has created a movement. We have thousands and thousands of students that have gone through this training live and online, and they're with us, and many of them are watching now. So that's several years later. This is the movement that has been created. So the message here to get to the place of being moved by your message is to sit in meditation and see the people that you want to serve and honor who they are and send them light, send them love. The same way I did before my masterclass, I sat and I saw them all in the room, and I was moved to tears. And I felt that energy just watching them and seeing their growth and seeing them be lit up. And I had so much fun in these images, and I had so much fun creating this training that it has continued to create a movement in the world, because fun is the operative words. Fun is the catalyst for the movement. The more fun you have, the more you increase your chances for success. So that fun is the catalyst. And the next thing is, when people say, who will listen? I often hear, remember I was saying before about that woman that was trying to get me to, forcing me to do the work with her. That salesy attitude was such a block for me. It was such a no for me. I was like, no, I don't want to be sold to. Leave me alone. So I always teach and preach, share rather than sell. Share what you love, share what you're moved by, and don't sell. You don't have to sell anything. When you're excited and enthusiastic about what it is that you're doing in the world, you don't have to sell anything. You can just be moved by your message, and you can just share it with the world. And so that happens when we're in an energy that is aligned with the work that we do, that we love, that we're lit up by, that we're moved by. And that movement is something that we can just talk about casually, and it's something that we share with friends, and it's something that people sign up for because they're so moved by it. So we've kind of begun to bust these myths and see ourselves in a different way. We've got a lot of tools, which I will recap at the end. And there's quite a few questions that I want to talk about. But I also want to give you just this greater understanding that when you begin to show up and start and do without expectation and share your story with somebody this week and put your message out into the world in some way, the world will begin to respond very naturally to the vibration that you put out. So let me give you some action steps that we're going to take this week. I want you to begin to put your message out, put your story out to the world without any expectation. So that story that you write, I want you to turn it into a blog, or maybe you put it as a Facebook post, or you tell somebody in a one-on-one encounter. And I want you to offer your story and provide a lesson that you've learned through that story. And I want you to do it without any expectation. Just do it from a place of joy and inspiration. And I want you to pay attention to the response that you receive. You may deeply, deeply move one individual who's just like blown away by the story that you shared. Or maybe you get a lot of feedback on your blog from people saying, thank you for telling the truth. Because the truth is that authenticity is what moves people and heals people. So this is your first call to action that I really want you to do, is write that story and share it this week. Put it out there, share it on your blog, on your Facebook page, share it individually in a one-on-one situation with a friend. And I want you to pay attention to the movement that you create when you share a message that you are moved by. And get into the action of doing something that is a movement towards being in that inspired state will catapult the process of you stepping into your purpose and your power. So that first doing action comes from a place of spiritual alignment, because it's your story that you've written in an inspired way. Maybe you meditate before you write that story, so it's coming from a place of inspiration. And then when you post it or share about it or talk about it, make sure your energy is from an inspired place. You're taking that spiritually aligned action, and you put that story out in a beautiful, beautiful way. And so that's your first piece of homework, and that's where you're going to start. And that's that message from Yogi Bhajan: start and the pressure will be off. Do one thing this week, which is sharing your story in an authentic way, will begin to help you feel like you're beginning to step into the dream that you've been talking about, and that you're actually doing it in some way. So I want you to report back to me. Email us at support@GabbyBernstein. Let us know how it goes. Post on my Facebook page. Let me know how this first action step, the spiritually aligned action step, goes for you. And now I want to just begin to talk about this big news. There's so much cool stuff coming the next month or two. And the biggest news is that I just opened the cart for my Spirit Junkie Masterclass live training. This Spirit Junkie Masterclass is a live weekend, June 2nd through 4th, live in New York City. And it's for you to gain the confidence and the spiritually aligned business building tools for you to live your highest purpose and make an impact and earn great money for the work that you're here to do. I created the Spirit Junkie Masterclass in 2014 because I saw so many of my alumni just begin to rise up, show up. I saw these people that were my readers saying, I got to do something big in the world. I can't play small. I have to let myself be led from a place of inspiration. And I want to create transition. I want to amplify my abundance. I want to bring spiritual principles into my career. I want to do inspiring work. And I heard your call, and I responded with what is, I believe, the most magnificent and probably one of the few, if not only, spiritual business trainings that is out there. A training that is not just, it's equal parts spiritual growth and development as it is earning, marketing, and abundance. And so we clear the blocks in the first day and a half of all those blocks and those myths that are blocking you energetically. We help you learn how to amplify that place of inspiration. I give you beautiful spiritual tools and principles that you can begin to bring into your life, meditations, emotional freedom technique that you can begin to apply in your own life or into your own practice or even into your corporate business. And then the next day, the Sunday, it's Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, and Sunday is spent all on how to run your spiritual business. We talk about creating passive revenue streams so you can start making money right away. We talk about how you can turn your passion projects into your mission and your business. We talk about that transition. How do you leave this one job, this corporate job, and go into this more spiritually aligned, inspired job? Or how do you transition from leaving your money job to something that's more enthusiastic and exciting for you? Or how do you bring your spiritual principles into your existing career. Last year at the Spirit Junkie Masterclass Live, we had 10% of our audience was attorneys. There were lawyers in the room, like this bundle of lawyers, and all these lawyers just kept getting up and saying, I gotta bring this to my law firm. I need to teach this to my clients. Some of those lawyers have actually transitioned out of their law firms. One of them left and became a yoga teacher, actually opened a yoga studio. She went from attorney to yoga studio owner. Some of them are still in their law practices, bringing the spiritual principles to their careers. We've had people who run 7-figure businesses come to the Spirit Junkie Masterclass because they felt that there was something missing in the business that they were running. They felt that their business was missing inspiration, it was missing enthusiasm, it was missing light, and they came to the masterclass to bring more light and infuse more light, and those businesses make even more money and put even more great work into the world. So this is a training for people who want to gain the confidence to step out and rise up. It's a training for people who want to earn for their great work. It's a training for people who have a message and want to learn how to amplify that message and get it out into the world in an authentic way where you're sharing and not selling. It is the best, most magnificent training for anyone who feels called to rise up, be of service, and spread an empowering message and earn for their great work. It is available now. We just opened the cart. All the details are at spiritjunkies.com. And for the next few days, we're offering a $500 discount. And that $500 discount expires in just a few days. So I want to make sure that everybody takes advantage of this. And if you sign up before midnight on the 27th, you're also going to get, so that's within the next 24 hours, you'll also get 2 spiritual prep calls with me before the training. So then if you sign up in the next several days, you're going to get a $500 discount. And if you sign up within the next 24 hours before midnight on the 27th, you're going to receive my spiritual prep calls with guided meditations and tips on how to prepare for the masterclass. Plus, if you sign up in the next few days before the $500 bonus expires, you're also going to get 3 payment plan. And that 3 payment plan goes away once this entire bonus is over. And you get to lock in that $500 early bird rate. So if you go to spiritjunkies.com, signing up within the next 24 hours will get you the spiritual prep calls, the meditations that I prepare for you, and the prep training before the June 2nd weekend. You'll save the $500. And you will also get the 3 payment plan, which will expire as well. And so everything's going to expire on March 30th, this discount of the $500 and the 2 training calls. And but the 2 training calls are the bonus for the next 24 hours. So head over to spiritjunkies.com. My team is in the chat. They can answer any questions. You can email support@gabbybernstein.com if you have questions. But all the details go over right now, spiritjunkies.com. This is really important to mention that we have a very limited number of people that we can put into the room. We've already sold tickets to some of our alumni, so we've already sold some of the tickets of the seats. And I keep the room intimate so that there's a vibe and people can get to know each other and there's a connection. So it's a few hundred people. We always keep it very intimate so that we can have this opportunity to connect and be together. I've been getting requests for this training all year. We had thousands of people on the wait list, so I know that wait list has already received notice that this is coming out. And so if you're interested and if you feel called to do it, take advantage of the $500 discount. Also know that there is a generous, no questions asked refund policy that goes on for a few weeks, and the details about the refund policy are on the page, spiritjunkies.com. So if you feel like you need to sign up and you change your mind, within that refund period, we can refund you. We do have a wait list, so they've been informed about this. So I want to make sure that if you are interested, you take advantage. Spirit Junkies, plural, spiritjunkies.com is where you can go, and my team is just dropping a link in there now. And that will be your opportunity to join this masterclass movement and really gain the confidence to own your power as a leader, as a inspired person in the world who wants to do great work, live your purpose, feel inspired, feel connected, and feel committed. And I'm so proud of my alumni who have gone on to do TED Talks and create 6- and 7-figure businesses and transition from corporate careers into spiritually aligned careers, bring spiritual metaphysical principles into their corporate careers in very authentic ways. Do great light work in the world and accept that they are light workers that are here to do important work in the world. And that's why they sign up. And there's probably like 60% of the room that signs up and say, I asked them to raise their hand. I said, does anybody here? They don't know why. And I want to say like 60% of the room raises their hand, and they always leave and they know why they came. And one of the biggest things about the masterclass is that people go through this training and they actually start doing the thing that they've been talking about and meditating on. And they start doing it right away. Many of them start doing it the moment that they leave that training that weekend. They begin to get into action. So take this as an opportunity. This is an invitation, spiritjunkies.com. I only offer this $500 discount for a few days. And when you sign up within the next 24 hours before the 27th at midnight, you're going to get the spiritual prep calls, and you also get the 3-pay plan. So that's the big reveal. That's the big announcement. I'm so excited for the 2017 Masterclass, June 2nd through 4th training live in New York City. We are calling y'all in. It's going to be a magnetic weekend. So let's close out this training. We've got a bit more time here. I want to close out by answering some of the questions that came in. So let's dive in. Here's a question from Noelle. Noelle said, I'm in nursing and administration, and I found what brings me joy. I feel as if I'm meant to do something that may be out of the nursing field, but I don't know what it is. How do I figure out what I'm meant to do? And so this comes back to what I talked about earlier, those effortless actions. What are the things that you did by choice for decades or for when you were younger? And one of my examples is Lena, who was an attorney who came to the Spirit Junkie Masterclass, and she was really in love with her spiritual path, and she's still an attorney, but on the side, she leads these spiritual retreats. So she has her business as an attorney, but she also has a side business where on vacation times, like during December when she's off from her work as a lawyer, she leads spiritual retreats in Costa Rica and different beautiful places. So finding she loved her spiritual principles, but she was in a career that was law. So she used her spiritual principles on her downtime to have this other business. And she didn't have to leave her law practice, which she loved, because she was lit up by it, but she could light herself up in another way and merge these two goals. So my goal for you all is to look at those effortless actions and begin bringing them into your life, even if you have an existing career. Do both for a period of time and see how that goes. Here's Laura. I'm full of dreams, hopes, and expectations, but they seem very distant. How can I be more patient while my day-to-day life is based on my existing job, earnings, and not so supportive family? Any advice? Okay, so here's the deal. What you focus on, you create. So I want you to recognize the feeling of being blocked and trust that your power to transcend that limitation and doubt lies in redirecting your focus. So right now her focus is that she feels like her day-to-day life is based on her existing job and her not so supportive family. So that story of I'm not supported, I don't like my job is creating her reality. So Laura, my goal for you is to begin to recognize those blocked feelings and as quickly as possible, pivot them. Lean towards a thought that feels more energizing. So the thought could be, I just learned this great lesson from that training with Gabby Bernstein. Or the thought could be, I want to use my inspired ideas once a day to get closer to my dreams. And the other thing also, Laura, is if you have family that's not supporting your dreams, do not talk about your dreams with them. And I know that there's many of you out there that have people who do not believe in your dreams. And we need people and friends to midwife our goals and our visions into reality, not people to block them. So shut your mouth, close your computer, and don't talk about it with them, because we can only surround ourselves right now when we're in the incubation phase of our careers with people who believe in us. And there's a period of time where my family was saying, you're crazy, you have a successful PR business, how can you leave that to be an author and a speaker? What are you talking about? You have 8th grade English, how can you write a book? And I would say to my family, I am a miracle worker, I am a light worker, and back off. And in that space, everybody shut their mouths. I stopped talking about it. I went forward with my dreams. I created successes. And today, nobody asked me for my credentials. Nobody asked me how I got here. Nobody wonders because I'm not wondering. So if there's a place within you that's feeling blocked, a lot of times, and there's resistance from others, that's often a reflection of the resistance within you. So zip it up. If the people are not supporting you, support yourself. Okay. Okay, at the end of a long day in my current job, this is from Jessica, I find it hard to summon the energy for my passion projects. I can't help but feel this is also mixed with fear of holding back. How do I push past this? I don't want my work to feel forced. The answer here is don't push. We've gone over this. If all you have right now is one day a week to focus on your passion work, then make that a focused day. Just don't push. Prioritize your passion work. So when I'm writing my books, I make a point often to not try to get a chapter out, but to meditate and then write. And if I don't have the time in my day to do that, I won't write it all that day. I'll come back to it the next day. Or if I only have time to write 3 paragraphs that are spiritually aligned, I will write those and I won't write anymore. So I can stick to my deadline because when I'm in a place of spiritual alignment, I don't have to push. So my hope for this woman, Jessica, is to stop pushing her passion projects and just taking days when you feel spiritually aligned and bringing your attention to it. Now hear me out, guys. If you bring one spiritually aligned day to your passion work, rather than 5 days of pushing, you will create a much greater impact and movement and dent in the movement forward and the propelling forward of this great vision and dream. So I'd rather you do 1 day of spiritually aligned work rather than 7 days of pushing, or 1 small right action that's spiritually aligned every day than hours of pushing each day, because that pushing is not attractive. It doesn't work. It doesn't attract more into your life. It is a block and it will not support you. All right, here's another question. My fear of failure is stopping me from moving forward at all. How can I move past it? Okay, so here's a big one. Right now you may have a goal that's like, I need to do this big thing. Rather than being in that goal of, I gotta make this big thing happen, let's move into a goal of, what can I learn from this desire? And seek to be positive about it no matter what. So if you're in a story of, how can I learn and grow right now, rather than how can I be my big idea, the growing and the learning will create momentum behind what it is that you want to create. So if you're feeling paralyzed by your fear of failure and your fear of moving forward, the way to combat that fear of failure is to stop focusing on the big goals and start focusing on what you can learn. When you're in the energy of learning, you're actually moving forward towards your goals because you're growing and you're aligning, and you're also releasing that fear of failure because you can't fail if you're always learning. So maybe you're trying something new today, but the goal is not about how can I get it done and how can it be perfect. The goal is actually, what can I learn from this? How can I learn something from this act, from this blog, from this post? Can I learn something new about myself and my mission? So taking away this failure idea and reframing it from, I need to get a goal achieved and accomplished, to how can I learn from this? Awesome. Okay, let's see. There's a few more questions. Here's a big one that we can kind of close out with. This is a really important one. You seem so productive. How do you fit everything in? What's your working routine? How much do you do yourself? And what do you delegate? Okay, first of all, here's a confession. For the past 15 years, I had done way too much. Work overload, work addiction. I share about this very authentically in the masterclass. I actually teach how to overcome work addiction. I was doing so many things. I was multitasking so much that I actually got brain fog. So I had to learn how to just scale back. And the way that I've learned how to be more productive actually is by doing less. And this is a whole new thing for me. It's not even something that I even taught last year at the masterclass. It's something that I'm teaching for the first time because I'm a recovering work addict. And I'm in a place for the first time where I have people that I can delegate to. I'm finally letting go of the rope and I'm doing less. So what I do now is I actually do 5 things a day. I have a list of 5 things, and I don't I do number 1, and I don't do number 2 until I've completed number 1. And then I cross that number 1, go to number 2, cross that out, number 3, cross that out. If the day is over and I haven't gotten through all 5, I pick up number 5 the next day. And so I'm focused on these 5 things, nothing else, nothing else. And I make a point to really stick to that commitment. The less I do and the more focused I am, the more I can create. Multitaskers out there, ladies, I know y'all are multitaskers. Stop it. It is not serving you. Having a million browsers up at once is not serving you. It is absolutely holding you back. It's messing with your brain, and it is messing with your energy, and it is messing with your creativity. Shut it down. If you're writing a blog, turn off the internet. If you are talking, if you're with your team, stop checking emails. I got to do that. Sorry, team. I do check my emails sometimes when we're in a meeting. If you're, if you're trying to stay connected to growing and creating a movement, you got to make sure that at all times you are being very conscious of doing 5 things at once rather than doing a million, and that will keep you connected and on your path. Okay. Here's another one. Okay. I love this. I started my own business a year ago, but I struggle to keep up with all my social media and marketing developments. I'm not trained in this field. Any suggestions? Well, I wasn't necessarily trained in social media, but it's actually a big thing that I teach in the master classes, like how to create a movement online, because these days we are all the media. I do an entire training on the Spiritual Business Day about the ways that we can get our message out through social media. But the main message I want to give you today about how to understand all of the different social media outlets that we have that feel so overwhelming for us is to, first and foremost, do what you love. Stick to the platform that you enjoy most. So if you love making images and creating art through image, be on Instagram. If you love writing long form posts that sound like blogs and you want to see the comments and stay connected to people, Facebook is a great place for you. If you love creating really pithy short messages and being quick on the internet, use Twitter. So use what you love, use what lights up your creative source and your force field of energy and inspiration. And when you're using social media from a place of inspiration, you're actually being social. You're not forcing a message onto the world. So nurture the social channel that you enjoy the most. The joy behind what you're doing is the catalyst for the creative force behind it, and that's what people respond to. Some of my masterclass alumni have used social media in very cool ways. One of them is a yoga teacher. She posts her yoga messages. She posts a picture of herself in a pose and then writes like this epically long, like 300-word passage about what this pose means and how it moves her and how great she feels in her body and the sutra behind the pose or whatever. And she gives these messages through her social feed. So it's not just a gorgeous image, but it's also this beautiful message. And she's so lit up by this. One of our masterclass alumni is Jordan Bach, who has spoken at the masterclass. He comes every year. You'll get to meet him. I'll probably throw him on the stage over the June weekend. And he's created a movement for all spiritually aligned people, but also a big movement in the gay community, the gay, lesbian, transgender community, as a voice of spiritual wisdom for this community. And he's done this through his social media feed, all through Twitter, Instagram. I met him originally on Twitter because he had his title on Twitter was "I'm a champion for gays." And I was like, I live for you. That's amazing. And that's how we became friends originally, through Twitter. So finding ways to do what you love. And when you do what you love online, you create a movement online. This is a big part of what we teach in the masterclass training. And so here's what I want to just bring forth for you. If you're feeling like these messages are aligned with you, if you're feeling that pull in your heart and that call to rise up, step up, show up, to do impactful, creative, forceful force field of work in the world, if you're here feeling like you have a message you have to share, or you have a transition that you need to create, or you want to learn how to get your message out in a broader way and make money doing that great work, then I want to invite you to join me June 2nd through 4th in New York City for the Spirit Junkie Masterclass Live. This is the most important invitation you will ever receive if you're hearing this call. If you're hearing this call, I invite you to rise up and say yes. And I invite you to be part of our family. We have a family of thousands of alumni that have come together year after year to just rise up, step up, own our power, gain the confidence to do what we've been dreaming of, and gain the business building tools that we need to make money, to create a movement on the internet, to get our messages out to the world, to create passive revenue streams that we can turn on. It's the second you leave the masterclass, you can start earning. To hear beautiful speakers. We have Elena Brower this year who's going to be talking about how to amplify your abundance and create passive revenue streams. I have a medium, Marianne DeMarco, who's coming to teach about energy protection. My coach, Raw Goddess, comes and she throws down and she teaches how to cross the threshold of who you are here to be. I lead all of these beautiful lessons on how to own your inspired ideas. I give you messages and tools on how to lead meditations, how to bring emotional freedom technique into your own life and your practice, how to clear the blocks to your financial abundance, clear away your financial fear story, and then how to turn that business idea into a reality or amp up the business that you already have through spiritually aligned actions, through manifesting media, through your message, through social media and the great resources, practical tools, and spiritual alignment that you can bring into your social media platform. I am madly, madly in love with this training. It is one of the greatest contributions that I have given to the world. I am so proud of the work that comes through that weekend and the people who show up, and I invite you to be part of our family. The details are at spiritjunkies.com. For the next few days, we're offering the $500 discount. When you sign up within the next 24 hours, you get the 2 live coaching calls with me leading up to the training, and you get support emails and meditations that lead you to that training. And you also get to access the 3 payment plan that will expire. Like I said, we have a opportunity to get a refund over a refund period if you sign up and you change your mind. So there's no risk at all in signing up if you want to secure that discount code and get it. So all the details are at spiritjunkies.com. You will see countless testimonials from alumni who have gone. You may even see testimonials in this chat right now of people saying, I'm a masterclass alumni and I did this and I did this and I did this. People have gone on to transition careers, step into 6- and 7-figure businesses, make a movement within their existing careers, bring spiritual tools and principles into their homes, their families, their children, and change not only their personal lives, but their bank accounts through this training. And I know I sound excited, but it's because I am. I'm so deeply moved by this masterclass. It makes me cry every time I talk about it. I'm so proud of the people who have been through this training, and I'm so excited. I'm so excited that we're doing it again and that I can invite you. I'm sorry that I'm crying, but I'm so excited to invite you to join us. And I hope you take advantage of the discounts and the bonuses that are available. And if you're feeling called, just join us. It's the most awesome thing you could ever do. It's like a big party. We dance, and you've got great gift bags, great snacks, and great weekends with the most beautiful people. And there's a tribe of people. You meet them immediately. As soon as you sign up, you'll be put into the Facebook group and you'll meet our alumni. They'll be there to support you. You network with this tribe. People, part of the masterclass experience is that you make new friendships. So many people on a spiritual path feel like they're alone in that path. And what I love most is the creation of these beautiful relationships. My masterclass alumni have become the most beautiful friends, and they support each other through life changes and career changes, and they just love each other, and they show up and they show up and they show up and they come back every year for more. And so I hope you'll join me. I have a very limited number of people who can join. We've already opened it up to thousands of people that were on the wait list. So if you're ready and you're feeling the call, if you're hearing that call, just sign up and join us. So check it out. Head over to spiritjunkies.com. Join me. I love you. I am so, so proud that you joined me today. I hope that these principles serve you greatly. And the replay of this video will be sent out to you so you can watch it again and again and again. And it will support you greatly on your journey of stepping into your dreams and doing what you've been dreaming of. It is time for you to rise up, to be that great, powerful force in the world. Even if you apply one of the principles that I've shared in this training today, you will create a movement within that will create a movement in your world. So step up, rise up, and show up. I love you. I'm proud of you. Sat Nam.